Hello and welcome to our May vlog. My name's Kathy and I work within the franchise sales team based in Manchester. So for those who haven't tuned in before, each month we try to cover a different topic, and I'm joined today by Ben, who's in our learning and development team.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about our podcasts that we've been airing of late. Now before that, I just wanted to have a little roundup. We're halfway through May and it's just been an incredibly busy few weeks. So April was a great month once again. We finished on £83 million worth of sales for the month of new sales for the month of April, and we had 9 travel counsellors who loaded a booking in excess of 100k, which is just phenomenal. And we've also been out on the road at our TC Together events, and basically we've got all the TCs together. It's midway through our financial year. And it's an opportunity to get together. It's been quite interactive. We've had interactive sessions where travel counsellors are looking at their own customer dashboards. We've had a panel of travel counsellors to do a Q&A session. We've had an update on our tech and tools. But most of all, it's been an opportunity just to come together and celebrate that TC community. So we've been out in Essex, we've been in London, we've been in Manchester, Birmingham, York, Edinburgh, I did, and we've still got Bristol next week and Belfast at the very beginning of June. So Ben, you went to Manchester, didn't you? What was the sort of sentiment?
It went down amazingly well.
Yeah.
I think any opportunity to get the travel counsellors together as a community always goes down really well. And the one thing we do very well is our events are always really fun, engaging, and like you said, interactive. I don't think we've ever had one of these kind of half-year conferences that has been quite as hands-on at looking at each individual's business, both individually and collectively. And so that went down really, really well. And we saw people coming out with light bulb moments everywhere, kind of do new thoughts and ideas of what they can bring to their business.
Yeah.
It was great from that point of view.
Yeah. I think I had the same in Edinburgh. You know, it was just, I think sometimes you have to take that time away from your business to sit down and look at, you know, yeah, and I think, you know, some TCs were quite surprised in, you know, and left knowing that, you know, they'd got a good amount of work to do. And
yeah, I think it was good to leave an event like that, not just with information, but a clear action plan.
Definitely.
And ideas of what they can do for their business going for the next 6 months.
Yeah. Great.
Fantastic.
And we've also just had 2 of our gold trips come back. So gold is our highest achieving travel counsellors, and every year we celebrate their success with a choice of 4 gold weekends. So Sri Lanka has literally just come back, but the week before we had a group of travel counsellors who went to Domes Algarve, and we've just got a short reel to show you what the trip was like. What an amazing weekend. They had an absolute blast, I believe.
Certainly looked like it. I wish I was there, sadly not on this occasion.
yeah.
But they all seem to have a great time. And again, Sri Lanka's out there at the minute or going?
They've literally just come back.
Oh, come back.
Literally just come back. Yeah, so we'll wait to see how their trip went. But most importantly, the amazing news that we have, and I'd just like to, give it a little.
I'll grab mine.
We literally have been awarded in the last couple of weeks at the TTG Awards Best Luxury Agency and also Best Business Travel Agency, which is a phenomenal award, and particularly for our corporate team. Yeah. So really something to celebrate. So really proud of that. Oh. Anyways, Ben, are you going to introduce yourself? How long have you been with TC?
I've been with TC, it will be 10 years in October, I think it is. Yeah. So I joined around Halloween, so right at the end of October, beginning of November, back in 2014. So yes, I'll be celebrating 10 years this year. So my role within the business, I look after all of the learning and development. So that includes the onboarding of any new travel counsellors. And so from a digital learning point of view, from any classroom-based training that we do, either virtually or in classroom, that all kind of goes through my team here, and yeah, we look after all those elements of it.
Fantastic. And you're famous for your love of?
I'm famous for my love of Disney. Is what I'm famous for here at Travel Counsellors. Although I love many different destinations around the world, I do love North America, and I do love my Disneyland and Walt Disney World quite a bit.
Anything that you don't know about Disney literally isn't worth knowing. Am I right in saying?
I think when it comes to Florida, definitely.
Yeah.
I'm a Disney Florida boy. I've done. It's been my 11th trip in May.
Wow.
This month, at the end of this month,
Yeah.
will be on my 11th trip. So
Fantastic. So we're on to talk about the podcast. So what prompted the idea? Where did that come from?
So at Travel Counsellors, we have an absolute wealth of product and suppliers and supply chain. And whenever we have someone new, one of the biggest learning curves for them is to understand exactly what they've got at their disposal. From the different tour operators to the different hotels, cruise lines, airlines, to what we call DMCs, which is kind of destination management companies. They're the companies on the ground who are kind of gelling all of this together. And understanding exactly how that fits with each destination. So we have a lot of information. What we did is consolidated it into an area where you get a podcast with someone from our community. So it's always led by a travel counsellor who is an expert in that destination. So they've travelled there multiple times themselves. It's one of their top performing destinations. And they talk about the destination very holistically. From who's the best suppliers that you need to look at, how are you going to arrange it, are there any questions that you need to ask your customer that are unique to that destination, that if you've not travelled there before, if you're new to that destination, will give you the foundations to be able to deal with that inquiry in a very competent way, coming across as the expert in that destination.
Right. And how many have we done? How long has this been going on for? Because I know it's been on a considerable amount of time.
Yeah, we started last year, and we're on our second season. So I think we're on episode 12 now, I think it is, that we've done since we started kind of the end of last year. And we've covered quite a bit of North America. So we've done California, we've done Orlando, we've done Australia, we've done South Africa, Thailand, Vietnam, Croatia, there's probably someone forgetting, Canada, we've done as well. So we are going around the world, definitely. It's a full geographical trip for us to all of our key destinations. So we started definitely in our most popular destinations, and also ones that are maybe quite tricky to plan, where they have complex itineraries, multiple stops. Say, for instance, Vietnam, very few people are going to Vietnam and just staying in one place. They're going to be travelling the length and breadth. Same with Thailand, South Africa as well. So we're going into those ones and looking at the best route plans. We're looking at the best accommodation for the customer type. So if you've got a luxury end customer, whether you've got someone with a more modest budget, what are the best options in each of those areas? One of the great things with the podcast is we record it in this studio, although we don't sit in these couches. We have great big comfy seats, and we record it with the podcast mics. It's available to watch if you really want to, but you don't have to look at this face. You can just listen to the audio on its own. So everything that we talk about, there's nothing to watch on screen. You can have it on in the background while you're working and so on, and listen to that advice from that individual travel counsellor. Any advice they give on the show, they also share in our podcast webpage. So we have a page that has the itineraries that we've spoken about, all those properties that we've listed off during the show. We have the list of all the suppliers that they've used to create those itineraries and their contact details for all of that. So it starts to bring all of those little bits of learning that you would get along the way and consolidates them into a destination. So with Thailand, you'll go on there and you'll be able to see the top 3 suppliers for Thailand that we have. You'll be able to go in there and get some additional resources. We have a planning tool that allows you to kind of trip plan with your clients. We also have some additional training content if you want to go further, because the podcast normally lasts around anywhere from 50 minutes to about an hour and 15. But obviously there's a lot more to learn in Thailand than just that. So we have further training that's available as well that you can go and take up as part of that page that kind of directs you to everything you need. It also provides you with all the social content that you'll need to go and market that destination to your customers. So if you haven't necessarily got an inquiry yet for that destination and you want to generate one, you can go and you can use that content to go and create things like Instagram Reels, Facebook posts and so on.
That's amazing. And I'm guessing the TCs are really passionate about you getting involved in the podcast. It's destinations that they're passionate about, isn't it? So
yeah.
I'm sure they enjoy it.
Like I say, we always go with someone who's visited that destination multiple times. It's one of their top key performing destinations, and always with that brings a lot of passion. So we do have people talking very passionately about that destination, giving us a real insight, much more deeper ingrained than you will probably get on the surface of any normal training. They will go into the nitty-gritty. They're really open, honest and frank. If there's things that you need to know for your customers, they will lay all bare. And we tackle it from a number of different areas. So I think I kind of alluded to it before. We have a structure that talks about, okay, how do you generate the inquiry to start with? So how do you market to this customer? When you get that inquiry, what are the type of questions for this particular destination that you need to ask to understand the customer's requirements a little bit better? So say, for instance, with South Africa, are they comfortable driving? Do they need drivers and so on? Times of year, different things. Weather can affect a lot of things. And so we look at all of that quite in depth and look at those questions that you'll need to ask and establish with the customer. Then we go down the itineraries route and we look at the most common itineraries for those destinations that they would put together for their customers. We kind of take it all apart and understand why they've done that route in that particular order, why they've chosen those particular locations and what the benefits are to the customer. And then we go down a route of looking at how that is then packaged and sold. So best supply chain to use, any tips and tricks for different elements of the holiday, the aviation side of things, what are the best airline routines to ensure you get the best options for your customer. And then again, how are they going to sell that? How are they going to sell that benefit onto the client of using their services?
I think that's the all important thing, is knowing the right questions to ask, because when you've got a client that's maybe looking at an itinerary to Vietnam, they know they want to go to Vietnam, but where do you start?
Absolutely.
So being able to find out, knowing the right questions to ask, and then with the help of the itineraries that we've already pre-built, you can just create this completely bespoke trip for your customer. Like you say, I think it's when TCs are talking to TCs, it's more relative, isn't it? As opposed to, everybody learns differently, and I am one that learns by listening and sort of engaging, as opposed to just watching a video so it's catering for everyone, isn't it?
Absolutely, and it comes directly from a travel counsellor. It's a completely unbiased opinion. It's not someone trying to sell you a product or anything like that. They will talk to you openly and honestly about what they've found over the years with different suppliers, different hoteliers, different airlines, and the service they provide, and which ones they think you should use from their own experiences over the last, some of the agents that we've had on have been in this industry for over 25, 30 years. So they're really in-depth knowledge into the destinations.
Fantastic. So again, just another helpful tool that we've created to make life easier for the travel counsellors.
Absolutely. The way we staged it very much is you mentioned about the questions. We have an inquiry form that the individual agent who's coming on the show compiles those questions for you, so you can take that away and you can use that with your customer. It will have all the regular ones on, names and dates, but it will also have those very specific kind of 5 or 6 questions that you'll need to ask based on that location alone to understand the best out your customer. And then realistically, you can take that away, and whilst you're doing your inquiry, whilst you're looking for the hotels and so on, while you're building it all together, you can have that podcast on in the background. So you're getting all of that information fed to you, so you know what you're going to feed back to your customer if it's a destination you're not as au fait with. And then again, you can kind of go on there, you can do more learning if you want to, you can share some of those assets with your clients, and then hopefully you can produce a sale and go and get the quote and get the customer booked.
Fantastic. And I think we've got a little reel, I think it's just a minute of one of the podcasts. Who was it? Amanda?
This is Amanda and myself with my colleague Craig, who also runs a podcast with me. We are talking about Orlando from a Disney and Universal Twin Center side. So me and Amanda were the subject matter experts. And I don't normally get on the other side of the camera. And I always, with these reels, they are quite humorous. We don't put all of the information in. We leave a lot of that for the main podcast. But take a look.
Hello, it's Craig again with Ben and Amanda.
And again, I'm sat on this side of the table this time because I actually have something to bring in this conversation. Well, hopefully I do.
I hope you do. Yeah.
Hopefully I do.
But yeah, when it was my honeymoon, my poor husband, who had never been to Disney, had any interest in it, was starting as we mean to go on by having that Disney honeymoon. Sort of, I'm not sure I got him hooked, but he keeps coming back. So.
Well, he stayed around for a while.
Exactly.
You know, he's been on 30-odd plus holidays.
Very high beds. I take a bit of a running jump. I know I'm quite short, but you'd have to take a bit of a running jump at those beds because they are pretty high.
They actually put a step at the bottom of your bed to be able to get on them. I mean, you do feel like the Princess and the Pea when you're climbing on and like lying on this thing. You go, I don't want to roll out of this bed because I'd cause some serious damage.
Yeah, I want to get up in the middle of the night to go to the loo, but I don't know whether I'm going to make it back in this bed. Yeah.
It's true. Very high beds. If you think the spider cave from the last podcast was anything to be scared about, this thing is another level. There'll be a man chasing you with a chainsaw down the street.
Like, why? Why would you want to do that?
Fear of hell.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
No, I'll stick to Harry Potter. Touching on the dream choice.
I think we both agree on this.
Yeah.
We both have the same on this.
It's got to be the
That was great, wasn't it? But just give you an insight into the podcast, all very light-hearted. And I just have to ask Ben, where are these podcast chairs? Because I feel like I've just blended into the background today with my choice of outfit. We should have done it.
And I haven't realised I've done this faux pas before. I'm wearing the same shirt as what I wore in that podcast. That wasn't on purpose by any means.
I don't feel so bad now. So hopefully that's just given you a little insight into another subject matter. We have got some events coming up. So I think we've got a slide of our next Discovery Day is actually next week on the 22nd of May. Now, if that's a little bit too short notice, our next one is the 26th of June. The Discovery Days are held in Manchester and they're an opportunity for you to come along, get a really good feel for the business, sit in the audience of TCTV. We'll give you a tour around and talk about the support network, and we have a Q&A with the travel counsellor. So all very informal, but really just to give you a good feel. And I think the next vlog we have is on the 12th of June. So please feel free to register for any of those events. So hopefully that's been useful. As always, if you've got any questions or you want to take anything further, then please don't hesitate to call the recruitment team. So thank you for joining us and we'll see you next month. Bye.